Welcome, I'm Angie, and thanks for joining me for another Crafts at Night. Tonight's craft, we're going to make a Kumihimo bracelet. I'll show you how to make a Kumihimo bracelet in the round and in the flat. I'll also show you how to make your own template from scratch. But first, let's get down to supplies. The supplies you'll need for tonight's craft are 2 pieces of cardboard, scissors, permanent marker, an X-Acto knife, a ruler, and 6 pieces of yarn or string. First, I'm going to show you how to make your round template for your round Kumihimo bracelet. We're going to take an 8" by 8" square, and we're going to use this to make our 7" circle to work with. So we're going to take a ruler, and how I got this to an even 8" round circle is I started out at the edge and I went in to the halfway mark, or I should say 1/2 inch, and I put a little dot there. And then from there I slid my ruler out from there, and then I made my second dot, which would be at my 3.5 inch, and then I made my line for my 7". And my guideline is my 3.5 inch dot there in the center. So what I did was then I would take my ruler a little bit at a time, and however many spaces you wanted to, I just did a little, making sure that my 3.5 inch was on my dot, and I made a little dot or a dash, and then I continued in the round until I got the spaces I needed to connect the dots. And there we have our 7" circle. Now we're going to cut this out. Okay, now we're going to make the lines along the edges. So for our template, we're going to do north, south, east, and west. And we're also going to go ahead and label these too, so we know where our points are. Now, in between north and east, we're going to go ahead and make 4 lines, and you just want to eyeball them and make them as even as you can. Just like so. Okay, now that we've got that, we're going to cut the lines here. We don't want to go too far in, because if we go too far in, then the tabs will be a little loosey-goosey and your template won't last very long. You'll have to make another one of these. So we just want to do simple little cuts in. Okay. Now one thing too that I found very helpful is you number the spots here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do 1, 2 until you make it all the way around. Okay, now that we have those labeled, now we're going to go ahead and make the center cut out to run our ribbon through. I like to do dots so I can go ahead and connect them. That way if I don't like the circle that I have, I can always quickly change it. Okay, now we're going to take our X-Acto knife and we're going to carefully cut that out. And there we have our round Kumihimo. Now, let's make the square template for our flat Kumihimo. Now, it's basically going to be the same way as the round. So we're going to do our north, south, east, and west. And then, depending on the width of your cardboard, you might be able to get more lines in each quadrant. I have one here that's a little bit bigger, and you can tell that I was able to get 3 along the side and 4 along, and 3 along here, but space them out a little bit wider to where it gave me more width to work with. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, one thing to remember is you want to leave a gap in between these two because those will end up bending really easily if you have them too close together. You want a gap, something like this, in between the corner pieces. And they don't have to be a perfect width in between, so that is quite all right. Because remember, this is just our template to make our bracelet. Now we'll take our scissors and we'll go ahead and cut these lines. There we go. Now, We'll also go ahead and number these. There we go. We have them numbered all the way around. And next we'll cut the center out for our square. Now this one we'll do in a rectangle. So just like so. Now we'll cut this out. Be careful not to cut yourself. You'll find this one's a little bit more easier to cut out than the circle was. There we go. We have our square template for our flat kumihimo. Now we're going to start working on our round kumihimo. So you're going to take 4 pieces of yarn or string, and what we're going to do is we're going to make them as straight as we can, and we're going to grab them at both ends, hold them together, and fold them in half. Okay? Then we're going to take, and since I want to have tails on both ends of this bracelet, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go so far in, however far in you want to, and we're going to make a knot right here where my forefinger and thumb are. So we're just going to wrap that around. And pull it tight. Now once we're done, we'll go ahead and we'll cut this right here, and then we'll have tassels at the end of both ends of our bracelet. Okay, now we're gonna go through, over and under. Now we're gonna make sure that we have same colors, 2 pieces of yarn of same color on north, south, east, and west quadrants. Okay, so I'm gonna place the yellow at the number 16, and I'm gonna place the other yellow string on the number 1. Okay, I'll place the hot pink on number 13 and 12. And then I'm going to place the blue on 9 and 8. And then I'm going to place the light pink on 4 and 5. Okay, so this is what our template will look like. Okay, now working in the round, you're going to take your right hand, take number 1, bring it to number 7. Then take your left hand, take number 9, and bring it to 15. And that's what it's going to look like. Then we're going to rotate to the right to where your hot pink which is my color, is your west is going to be at the top now. And remember, every time you work one side, you want to rotate it to the right. So now we're going to take number 13, bring it to number 3, and number 5 to number 11. Rotate to the right. So we just did these two. I'm going to rotate to the right. I'm going to go now to the blue. We're going to take 8 to 14 and 16 to 6. Rotate. 4 to 10. 12 to 2. Rotate to the right. 15 to 5. 7 to 13. And rotate. 11 to 1. 3 to 9. And rotate. 6 to W. 14 to E for east, and rotate. 2 to south, and 10 to north, and rotate. Now you're going to keep working in this pattern the whole way through, okay? And just remember, once you move 2 of the strings, you rotate to the right, okay? Oops. Now, whenever you start getting down to the short pieces of your yarn, how you end your kumihimo is very simple. You'll want to reach under your template. If it's tight like mine, you'll want to loose some of these strings up. And you'll want to pinch right there. And you'll want to hold it, because if you're not holding it there in the center, it'll unravel on you like a braid. So just take our string out of the notches on our template and set that aside. And then we'll want to wrap the loose pieces around and make a knot where your thumb was holding the braid. And there you have your kumihimo in the round. Now remember I said we're going to take this. Ooh, it's windy. We're going to take and we're going to cut that there. So now we have tassels on both ends. Make sure your knots are secure. Quickly tug. Okay. Now if you want, you can go ahead and braid these into individual pieces of string. But I think the colors are just so pretty that I'm going to leave them loose. And then you can quickly give them a quick tie. kind of hard one person doing it. But there we got it. Your Kumihimo bracelet. So lovely. Okay, we'll go ahead and braid the ends. I already did a couple here, and I'll show you how I braided these. I ended up taking 2 colors and placing them together. Let's go ahead and do the hot pink and the blue, and we'll just do a braid. So we'll hold 2 together, and the other 2 will be by themselves, and we'll just quickly braid. And once you get it down to the length that you want, like so, we're going to go ahead and make a knot. Make sure it's tight. There we go. We have 2 braids on either end. Now, if you want, we'll go ahead and we'll make a loose knot loop, is what I call it. I don't know the technical term for it, but it's like if you're knitting or crocheting, it's the loop that is movable, and you can always untie it. So what we'll do is we'll keep this straight. We'll go under and around, and then we'll wrap it back and tuck it under. Oops. So you'll hold it, wrap around, tuck, under, and through. There we go. That way, the one that you kept straight will easily move up and down, no matter how tight you make this knot here. So, and then that way, whenever you go to put it on single-handed, you can bring that and make that hole as big as you need to. Take one braid, pull it through, take the other braid, pull it through, and then you just straighten that cord up. Just like so. There we have it. Just in case you don't have an extra pair of hands to help you put on your bracelet. That is a simple way to quickly, easily get it off and on, but you don't have to worry about it falling off because you can always tighten it up like so, and you have your pretty tassels. Ta-da! On to making our flat kumihimo. Okay, we're going to take our 2 pieces of string and we're going to fold them in half. And then we're going to pinch it in the center. And then we're going to make a simple knot and a loop. Like so. Just like so. Okay. Now we're going to take this and we're going to go through the top and under. And we're going to separate the 2 colors to where we have 2 of the same colors at the top and 2 of the same colors at the bottom. Just like so. Okay. Now, we're mainly going to be working with our left hand. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take the number 1 slot string, we're going to place it on number 19. Then we're going to take number 12 and place it in number 1. And then we're going to place the N and put it in number 12. And the S in north. And then we're going to bring number 19 in the S slot, just like so. I'll do this a couple more times. 1 to 19, 12 to 1, north into 12, south into north, and 19 into south. 1 to 19, 12 to 1, north into 12, south into north, and 19 into south. 1 to 19, 12 into 1, N into 12, S into north and south, 19 into south. So we'll keep doing that pattern until we get to the end of our string. And if you notice that your cardboard is tough, like mine is, just give it some time and it'll get easier to move about. You'll also want to make sure that your strings underneath your template don't get tangled. Because the more strings that you have, the more chances there is for knots to develop. Oops. Thank you for crafting with me, and I hope you have a good night.